For more on this, let's bring in one of the lawmakers who will be questioning James Comey, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of the House Judiciary Committee. Good to see you today, Congressman.
Good to see you, Harris. Before we get to the judiciary work, I know you just gave reporting on the White House Chief of Staff position.
Yes.
Let me make a prediction for you. Jared Kushner will be the next White House Chief of Staff. I believe that the president views this kind of conflict period coming up with House Democrats as one where he needs the loyalist people closest to him. And I think if it wasn't going to be Kushner, it probably would have been my colleague Mark Meadows. But I'll go ahead and make that prediction that Jared Kushner will be the next Chief of Staff.
All right. So full disclosure, the way that we know things as human beings is to have some confirmed. You are not a guy who makes predictions. That's not who you are. So I would just simply ask, are you guessing or do you believe it?
I think it's an informed guess.
Okay, that's fair enough. Congressman, making some news this hour could be Jared Kushner, and I met him for the first time when I was at the White House yesterday. Had I had this information, I would have asked him about it. Okay, let's move on and talk a bit about what's coming down the pike with James Comey. You've had a bite at this apple. And so what do you go back and you ask him now, a man whose memory is so flawed, according to him, that he didn't take a lot of the questions based on bad memory?
James Comey has perfected the art of selective amnesia, and I don't expect that will change on Monday. I do think it is reflective of poor management of the Judiciary Committee that we're bringing in Jim Comey a second time before we bring in Rod Rosenstein even once. I mean, it was months ago that Rod Rosenstein was reported as saying he wanted to wiretap the president and potentially remove him from office, and we haven't asked the first question about that. So I think that's a real dereliction of duty. There are two areas where I think Comey's right. First, this should not be occurring behind closed doors. We should be skeptical of Republicans and Democrats when they tell us that the best way to conduct oversight is to do it outside of the view of the American people. Second thing I think Comey's right about, this is not a sincere attempt to hold Hillary Clinton or Jim Comey accountable for Hillary Clinton's email scandals. If we were really serious about doing that, we'd have been on the stick starting the beginning of the 115th Congress. So what we're really trying to do here is understand the four corners of where Comey was leaking and who he was talking to, because our fear about Comey is that he viewed the job of FBI director not as one of conducting investigations and making reports, but actually trying to shape public opinion by leaking information to the media and trying to have sort of selectively bad things come out about Trump to discredit him both before and during his presidency. And so if we have that understanding, we'll know what other investigations may have been polluted by all of the departures from the normal practices.
Well, I see a crispness to your focus now. Because you're going to get another opportunity and you already know what he won't answer. So it's interesting. You're not going to go down all those lanes that you know that have blocks. You mentioned the four corners of where the leaks may have come from. That's fascinating in the sense of how you then go forward with your questions.
It is, and you should keep in mind that Michael Horowitz is still looking at those things. He actually gave a prelude to his investigation in his last report that detailed all of the bias in the Hillary Clinton email investigation by the people conducting that investigation. But he said that there were circumstances where people in the media were giving concert tickets and sporting tickets to people in the FBI. And then you have conflicting stories from Comey and McCabe about whether or not McCabe's leaks were just something that he had done as a result of going rogue, or whether those things were actually directed by Comey. So this is not about Hillary Clinton. This is about understanding where the culture at the FBI that had become so toxic under James Comey may have let us down in other ways.
I'm going to step into just one more bucket here, and that is Mike Flynn, because he's sentenced next week. James Comey saying that, in terms of him not being told to bring a lawyer with him when he first was interviewed, that was something that they kind of, and I'm paraphrasing him, kind of got away with that they might not have with other administrations. I got to let you go. I'll bring you back. You broke some news. You say it's Jared Kushner as the chief of staff. I'm going to attribute you for that. You said it's an informed guess. Congressman of Florida, thank you very much.